The US has thrown its weight behind Somalia's fragile government 16 years after American soldiers were killed in Mogadishu in a battle that inspired the film Black Hawk Down. At that time, Bill Clinton was president. Today, his wife, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, met Somalia's president in Nairobi, promising military aid as the government takes on Islamist militants. In an interview with this programme, the president of neighbouring Eritrea defended the militants. But Mrs. Clinton said action would be taken if Eritrea continued interfering in Somalia. Here's our foreign affairs correspondent, Jonathan Rugman.
This afternoon, America cemented its alliance with Somalia's new president. The handshake was hugely significant. Mr. Sharif is a devout Muslim leader that the Bush administration once opposed. But Mrs. Clinton called him the best hope we've had for some time. The best hope, that is, for a country racked by 19 years of civil war. Earlier, the Secretary of State laid a wreath in memory of over 200 killed in al-Qaeda attacks on America's Kenyan and Tanzanian embassies 11 years ago. The US believes two of the perpetrators are still hiding out here in Somalia, the most violent country in the world after Afghanistan, Pakistan and Iraq. And America is doubling its supplies of weapons to government forces in case these fighters from Al-Shabaab or the youth become Al-Qaeda's front line.
If Al-Shabaab were to obtain a haven in Somalia, which could then attract Al-Qaeda and other terrorist actors, it would be a threat to the United States.
Not since her husband was president, when America lost 2 Black Hawk helicopters and 18 of its soldiers, some of them dragged through Somalia's streets, has Washington so overtly intervened here and taken sides. Today, at least 15 militants were killed south of the capital Mogadishu, killed by government forces armed with American weapons supplied in the last few months, while another shipload will soon arrive. Government control in Somalia is confined to a small part of Mogadishu and the town of Beledweyne, while the Islamist alliance controls much of the south and centre of the country. In Mogadishu itself there are thought to be some 2,500 Islamist fighters. Their front line is just 600 metres from President Sharif's palace. What keeps them at bay? Well, 4,000 African Union troops headquartered at the airport, plus government forces armed with 40 tons of guns and ammunition supplied by the United States. But America is not the only player in the Horn of Africa. This is Asmara, the capital of Eritrea. A one-party dictatorship the Americans are now threatening with UN sanctions unless Eritrea stops its alleged arming of Somali militants.
Their actions are unacceptable. Their interference with the rights of the Somali people to determine their own future are the height of misplaced efforts and funding, and we intend to take action if they do not cease.
What hypocrisy, say the Eritreans, claiming the Americans have a habit of branding nationalist freedom fighters as terrorists. Eritrea's president claiming that he doesn't have the money to fight a proxy war the way that Washington does.
I wish we had the resource and we had the ability to support Somali resistance in any way. Physically, it has not been possible. Theoretically, we may want to see that happen. To try to say, well, Eritrea supports Islamists, what's wrong with Islam in the first place?
3 men are believed to lead Somalia's Islamists. Ahmed Abdi Godane avoids being photographed and is believed to have fought with Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Hassan al-Turki is seen as a father figure by the militants he trains, while it was Hassan Dahir Awais whose return home from exile in Eritrea which helped spark a new round of fighting.
You may disagree with their ideology, you may disagree with their political program, but these are Somalis above anything else, and at the moment they are fighting for the liberation of Somalia and for the reconstitution of Somalia.
But the Americans and the UN Security Council have sided with President Sharif and his forces for now. Their fear that if he can't reconcile Somalia, then nobody can.